Okay, it's really, really ugly, and it's really, really bad. What is not clear is whether it is really, really racial.
Ben Shapiro is an American journalist who has made his claim to fame by arguing with college students on uneven platforms. He lets them speak for a little bit, and then he has a room full of supporters. He humiliates them, they're forced to run away, and then he seems like the hero. This is not a good debater. This is not an intellectual. This is not an academic. This is not a contributor to the discourse. This is just someone who has been able to manipulate certain circumstances in college arenas to try and make himself, build himself, prop himself up to be something which he's not. When he was confronted by Andrew Neil in a famous debate last year, he was thoroughly humiliated, actually, to the extent whereby he actually had to flee from the debate.
You know, I'm not inclined to continue an interview with a person as badly motivated as you as an interviewer. So I think we're done here. I appreciate your time, sir.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time and for showing that anger is not part of American political discourse. Now, Mr. Shapiro, we'll say goodbye.
Which shows us this man is not a debater. He's not an intellectual. He's not well researched. He's not even probably well read. He's a guy who speaks fast, who thinks that by speaking fast, people will not get what he says, yes, and unpack it, yeah, and look at all the contradictions in what he says. Having said that, Ben Shapiro is also known for his opposition to Muslims and black people in America. You would be shocked to know what this Ben Shapiro has to say about George Floyd's situation. Ben Shapiro doesn't believe that George Floyd was killed for a racial reason. Let's hear what he has to say.
Okay, it's really, really ugly, and it's really, really bad. What is not clear is whether it is really, really racial.
So as we see here, it's very patently clear. He doesn't think it's racist. He doesn't think there's any racially aggravated reason. But not only that, Ben Shapiro doesn't even believe that he was murdered by the officer and that the knee on neck, which was, for all intents and purposes, a blood choke, yes, a blood choke, for anyone who knows what blood chokes are, was the cause for his death.
It is not clear at this point that this person died because he had a knee on the back of his neck. At the very least, the officer should go to jail for assault, you would assume.
You see, this is not surprising. It's not surprising like someone like Ben Shapiro, who has a track record for his opposition to black rights movements, to civil rights movements, to Muslim rights movements, to say. Because when he was asked about the disparity in wealth between white and black people, he says,
because it has nothing to do with race and everything to do with culture.
Wait a minute. What did you say? Did you say it has nothing to do with race and everything to do with culture? Let's try and unpack that for a second. Let's try and de-emotionalize this for a second. Let's try and intellectualize this for a second. Let's try and rationalize this for a second. Are you saying, are you insinuating, are you suggesting, are you implying, are you trying to promote, are you espousing, are you promulgating that 247 years of racism, of racist slavery in America, 247 years of race-based slavery in America, followed with Jim Crow laws. Yes, Jim Crow laws that had no impact on the contemporaneous reality. That history has no impact on the contemporaneous reality. The fact that slaves could not pass on wealth to their offsprings, to their children, to their grandchildren, where whites had the structural ability to do so for all these years. You don't think it has a trickle-down economic effect? You must be deluded. You must be absolutely deluded. No wonder why someone like yourself cannot appreciate the plight. Yes, you cannot appreciate the plight of the black man, or the Muslim man, or the Mexican man, because you're on the record for having said what? About Arabs.
You said
sure.
Israelis like to build Arabs like to bomb crap and live in open sewage.
That very statement is the definition of racism, where you think you're better than someone because of your race, your group. You think your racial group is better than other people, other races. Jews do X, Arabs do Y. Arabs bomb things and live in sewers, you said, and Jews, they like to build things. Yeah, really? You think that's a sensible statement? To generalize a community of 300-400 million people, many of which are black, because you can have a black Arab. Al-Arabi man takallama bil-Arabiyya. The Arab is the one who speaks in the Arabic language. A Sudanese is an Arab. There are Mauritanian Arabs. There are Malian Arabs. There are black Egyptian Arabs. So all of these people like to bomb things as well. Is that what you're trying to say? So had I reversed that statement now, and I say Jews like to bomb crap and live in sewers, whereas Arabs like to build things, you think you wouldn't be the first weasel, whining weasel, pathetic, to say that that's an anti-Semitic statement? You'd cry. Let me tell you something. Your time is up, because all the communities are waking up to your nonsense. The black communities are waking up to it. The Muslim communities are waking up to it. And all the ethnic minorities are waking up to it. The dominant white communities are waking up to it. We know that you have an agenda, boy. You have an agenda. And you know what you are? You are a scared man. Just like you ran away. You actually ran away. You ran away from a debate with Andrew Neil.
So I think we're done here. I appreciate your time.
So you see how you ran away? Got emotional. He got you, didn't he? You don't like being asked questions. You don't like being put on the back foot. I want to see the day where you're man enough and you're courageous enough and you're strong enough to stop debating these youngsters who you don't even give an equal opportunity to speak. They're not professors. They're not intellectuals. They're not debaters. Youngsters. Stop debating those youngsters and getting your probably paid crowd to cheer against them. Bully them. And stand up to someone like Andrew Neil from the Muslim community, or from the black community, or from the Mexican community, or from any other of the ethnic minorities that you've been trivializing, yes, their plight, and trivializing their rights. Give them equal opportunity and have a debate with those. I don't think you will. And I say to all communities who have access to this man, I think it's about time to put the pressure on this guy, because his racism, because anyone who says those kinds of comments about black people and Arabs is saying clearly racist statements, should put the pressure on him. Our community should put the pressure on him, and those who follow him and those like him. We have the social media ability to do so. So let's do it now. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.